Hello, Halogen here. I wanted to talk a little bit about EMF meters. Now, I ordered an EMF meter today. It hasn't arrived yet, but I'm going to use some examples. Now, I want to talk about why I both trust them and I don't trust them. I mostly distrust EMF meters, but only in the paranormal world. Now, why don't I trust them? Well, it's because anything can set it off. If you're new to, the paranormal, you don't really know what you're going to look out for. I've never gone ghost hunting, as you can plainly see. So you're not going to hear a lot of accurate things about ghost hunting coming from me. I play ghost hunting games, but they're fictional. They don't really teach me anything. So, I did order an EMF. This is not it. I'm going to use this as an example. This is a water meter with its two little prongs at the end. You stick this into the wall, and it gives you a reading on the screen that tells you how damp it is. But I'm going to use it as an example. The type of EMF I distrust the most are the K2 meters. They look a little bit like this with the 5 LEDs along the top here. That gives you a reading of 5 different coloured lights. Now, I bought this EMF for its intended purpose, was to measure EMF. That's it. Not to measure ghosts or anything like that. EMF is something totally different. EMF to me isn't paranormal. It's something that can be around you, caused by devices such as this computer, the main switchboard to the house, light switches, cables, all these other things, smartphones, walkie-talkies, maybe. Now, the reason I don't trust those K2 meters is because anything can trigger it. If you're in a paranormal investigation and you've turned off the power to the whole building, everyone on the team has turned off their smartphones and their walkie-talkies, then I might trust the readings you get on your K2 a little bit more. However, if I was to buy it for its intended purpose, I couldn't really use it because it doesn't really tell me anything, those ones, the lights. It has a sticker on it that says milligauss with the readings, but it tells me that there's an electrical current there, but it doesn't tell me what the exact reading is in milligauss. It gives me a rough estimate, so I don't like those ones. The one I ordered, it looks a bit like a multimeter with a big screen on it that gives you multiple readings. And it's literally just to measure EMF in the house. Because as the theory goes, high levels of EMF can cause well-being issues. Like, you could feel feelings of terror sometimes. You could feel stressed. You might feel unwell or unhappy. And it can be caused by high levels of EMF. I've tested this by cutting the power to the house. However, it was a bit inconclusive because by cutting the power to the house, I was expecting to feel better, and then suddenly I did. The power suggestion gets in the way then. So that's why I've ordered one, to test it, you see. But if I ever did go ghost hunting, I don't think I'd bring one with me. Maybe I would just to test the theory, but I would want to know if shuffling your feet across a carpet or a floor, or just the simple action of walking, rustling my clothes together, generates static, and maybe the static triggers the EMF. Who knows? I'm not an expert on those devices, but you never know what will trigger it. What I do know is walkie-talkies and smartphones can trigger an EMF. This has been proven. Not by me, but by various experts. EMF is something... I know what EMF is. I don't have to know what the paranormal is to know what EMF is. Electromagnetic field. It's basically just like a big ball of energy, basically. Electric. Not exactly, but you get the point. But anyway, yes. I distrust those devices. Unfortunately, I don't mean to burst your bubble, ghost hunters out there, but those K2 meters that look like this with the LEDs on it are the ones that are mostly faked, unfortunately. How do you know that the one you got on Amazon for 25 quid is actually a genuine one? The real ones are approved. They have an approved sticker, or they are from an official source. I bought my one as from an official source. I'll test it to see if it's genuine or not. I'm not saying the one I've ordered is definitely genuine. But it's worth testing. I will leave it alone in a room and see if it fluctuates on its own. If it does, I'll be a bit suspicious. So, yeah, I'm not going to tell you what not to do on a ghost hunting show, but I'm fairly certain that when you ghost hunting with a K2 meter or any sort of EMF, you're supposed to take these and put it down and leave it, walk away, because anything about you could set it off. You know, I call these devices human being detectors. You know, all these thousands of dollars or thousands of pounds worth of ghost hunting equipment that I think is pointless. I call it all human being detectors. You know, REM pods is a great example of something like that. They just pick up people. So, all you need, in my opinion, just in my opinion, if I was to go ghost hunting, all I would bring is just myself and a camera and nothing else. Maybe I will bring a genuine EMF just to test it. But then, you know, I do believe in the paranormal, but I also debunk a lot of stuff. I prefer debunking more than anything else. I'd prefer debunking rather than looking a fool, going online saying, I've just got evidence, wow, my EMF went off, and then finding out later it was someone getting a text in the room. Or something else, electrical signal. So, you know, be careful. I'm going to be careful at least. But I'll post a picture of the EMF meter when it arrives. You know, it's if you want to know what it looks like, think tier 3 EMF in Faz. It kind of looks a little bit like that. A cross between that and a multimeter. See you again.